Hey guys, Harry Duff with the Ohio Brush Patrol out here in the garage today doing a little first off cleanup, clean up workbench, kind of clean up everything a little bit, but second off we're gonna be tackling this thing, stump grinder for the Rayco SC130. So I think a couple videos ago I mentioned that the front pump seal is leaking on it, so I'm gonna tear the motor off. Take this hydraulic motor off, this guy. See about replacing that front seal. Kind of might even go through that whole motor. Probably should when I got it off, but I'm gonna check the bearings out on the front wheel here on each side. There's a Zerk fitting that's broken off that I need to replace. Might consider replacing this belt. It's not super great shape. Everything else is in pretty good shape though. Pins, all these pins are real good. The main center pin down there is real good. But yeah, just kind of do an overhaul on it and try and get it ready for spring. So probably sharpen up all the teeth on it and just kind of do a all-around tune-up. When I bought this thing, I've only used this once, and I think it was a couple videos ago, and like I said, the front seal was leaking on it. So I knew I was going to have to bring it into the shop and into the garage and fix it up a little bit. But when I bought this, it actually came with a new, I would call it a cradle, I guess. It's got the adjustment on it for the tension on the motor, or for the belt. Came with a new cradle on that, so I mean, it's brand new, never been installed. I'm just a little bit curious on why they actually got that. I did notice somebody did some kind of janky welding on it, so yeah, we'll see. We'll kind of get it all torn apart, kind of see what's going on with it. Maybe we'll might have to do some welding myself on it, so we'll get it all torn apart and go from there. Alright guys, got it cleaned up a little bit. At least I got a little bit of workbench space over there to work with. So yeah, the plan is to get the motor off and see what I'm dealing with on that. Also, I want to check this cradle out like I mentioned before. I did pull off a couple hoses already. Pulled off a couple hoses. Me and my oldest boy actually did that. Pulled off the main cover so you can actually see the belt. So what I got to do next is pull the belt off, pull the pulley off, and yeah, take the motor off and we'll see what we're working with. But this is off the Rayco SC130 forestry mulcher. This is the stump grinding attachment. Here's the plate for it actually. It is I don't know if you guys can see that. You see that? Model number SC130. Gross vehicle weight's 1,700 pounds. It's 2006 model. So that's what we're working on today. So I'll get you guys set up and we'll get this thing torn apart more and we'll go from there. Alright, so it looks like get this pulley off. There's 1, 2 little set screws. Gotta take this off. That washer comes off. Rayco calls this setup a taper lock, so I'm assuming there's a taper cone in there and that's what holds the pulley on. But yeah, I'll go ahead and get that off. So these set screws have Loctite on them. You can see a little red Loctite coming off of them. I always like to use heat on Loctite. Softens it up, makes it real easy, especially with something, a fastener like these little set screws that have Allens. I don't want to strip those Allens out and be drilling all day, so I'll just use a little bit of heat. It should come right off, hopefully. This does have a keyway on it, so make sure not to lose that keyway. Yeah, try not to mar the surface up either when you're getting it off. So I'd say it looks like that seal's been leaking. There's there's most definitely some fresh oil in there, so hopefully that front seal is real easy. Hopefully it's cheap, hopefully it's available, and slap that back together. But next thing to do is pop these 4 bolts, and this whole thing should come off. I'm sure this is a pretty heavy motor, so watch your toes. As I mentioned before, somebody welded that, so I'm gonna have to take a cut off wheel and cut that so I can get this cradle off. Halfway thinking this is bent right here, actually. Kind of looks bent right here. So I think that was their fix for it instead of just fixing it properly. So now I gotta clean all that up, and causes me some extra work. But yeah, we'll get it cut off. Jeez. Alright, so I'm gonna show you guys. Gotta cut this little plate off. That's where they had it welded right there, so I gotta cut that off so then I can put the new one on. But this is what I found. See if you guys can spot what's wrong with it. These are little pivot points. These guys slide on. There's a little plate underneath each one of these. That's the motor sits in there. You bolt it on here, and this big old screw is on the other side, and that's what it allows it to pivot and tension the motor, or tension the belt. So that's the new one. That's what it should look like. This one, a little weird. Looks like somebody's been beating on it. This side, yeah, it's got the pivot on there. This side, oh, there it is. Snapped off. This ear snapped off. So this is exactly how I took it apart. Took it apart just like that. This plate was underneath this one. This side doesn't have anything underneath it. So first off, it was sitting in there cockeyed. Second off, obviously that ear snapped off. So yeah, somebody just kind of hobjobbed this thing together. So we're gonna put it back together, new parts. Make sure the plates are in both sides. I mean, that was cockeyed in there, so the motor was actually cockeyed in there. And they probably, I'm assuming they over tensioned it. They kind of make them feel like they had it nice and secure. So I'm assuming that's why the front seal on the hydraulic motor is leaking. So we'll I'll get all this stuff cleaned up. I'm actually going to put the cradle back in there, clean everything up. Then probably later on I'll tackle this thing. I got to look up some diagrams actually on how this thing comes apart. I believe this is actually the same hydraulic motor that is on the forestry mulching head, so I don't quote me on that. Maybe if somebody from Rayco is watching, they could confirm or deny that, but I really like that. If it makes it easy for Rayco owners, you know, for them to use the same hydraulic motor on both. So they look almost identical, so I believe they're the same ones, but I'll have to look at the plates and see if they're the actual same ones. But yeah, I'm gonna get everything cleaned up. I am going to just get that cradle on there, but I'm probably going to end up taking this wheel off, checking both those bearings, making sure they're good. Just making sure there's nothing goofy going on with that, because I mean, after finding that, I really don't want to put all this time and money and effort into this thing just to put it all together and find out there's some issue in there. So I'll probably end up just tearing it down completely and going from there. But luckily we found something nice and easy, and like I said, we got the parts, and yeah, should be good to go. Alright, got this all cleaned up, ready for the new cradle over there. I'm just going to throw some paint on this thing. Doesn't have to look pretty. I mean, it's a stump grinder, so doesn't have to look pretty, but yeah, I'll clean all this dirt out. Like I said, I'm going to take this wheel off. Probably not here soon, but I'll try and get out here later tonight. And got a Zerk fitting to fix on that one bearing on this side, this big bearing, and also want to check those out. So we'll get all that done.